Hello, friends, and welcome to Big T's 3-Minute Market Minder. Today, I want to talk to you about a comment that I've been getting a lot. I've been recommending Bitcoin for about a year now, since it was $450 a Bitcoin, and it's closing in on $1,500 a Bitcoin. And I'm getting a lot of emails from folks saying, is it too late? Have we missed the boat? Gosh, Bitcoin's gone up so much. Does this idea even make sense anymore? And I want to do a quick 3-minute market minder here to talk about how I view Bitcoin. So this is what we're looking at here is the original offering document for Microsoft when it came public in 1986, and 2.8 million shares were offered for sale. About 700,000 of those shares was actually selling shareholders, the insiders that were selling stock, and about 2 million was actually went to the company. So when it went public, it came public at 21 and then closed the day above $25. And the market cap back here when it went public was $500 million, right? $500 million was the market cap in 1986. Now, by 1991, the split equivalent price of Microsoft had gone to $2, which gave Microsoft about a $20 billion market cap. So you can see here, if you bought this in 86, or even if you missed it in 86, and it's now 1991, oh my goodness, this is up 20 times. It's worth $20 billion. I could have bought this, at the split equivalent of 10 cents. Is it over? Right? Now, I was around as a broker in 1991 and was there when people were asking, is it over? Is Microsoft a flash in the pan? In the early 90s, this is when Microsoft was making the shift over to Microsoft Windows. And I was there in the meetings with the analysts talking about, they were debating the relative merits of Microsoft and whether it made sense or not, right? So think about that, right? This is, in my mind, the same point where Bitcoin is. You've got people debating the relative merits of Bitcoin. You've got people debating whether Bitcoin's gone up too much. A lot of people don't realize this, but Bitcoin's been around since 2009. So what is that, 9 years, right? 9 years. It's been around longer than Microsoft was at that particular point in terms of its market cap, right? So Microsoft actually got to that $20 billion market cap a lot faster than Bitcoin did. But I think the uses for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin network and other cryptocurrencies that I've talked about in my services, I think the uses for those tools are going to dwarf the uses that we've had for Microsoft's products, which is incredible when you really think about it. So if you look here in 1991, people kind of thought it was over with Microsoft, and yet the stock went from the split equivalent of 2, all the way up to 54. I mean, it was just beginning, even after a 20x move higher. And so as I look at the chart on Bitcoin, and I see, yes, we've had this breakout, but again, I see this long sideways consolidation. I see Bitcoin finally starting to get some, respect out of the hacker community. And boy, oh boy, it really reminds me of what I saw out of Microsoft in the early 90s. So the long story short is, I think we have lots and lots of upside ahead. Now, the last piece I will leave you with, because this chart is so long-term, you can't see the ups and downs here in the chart, but there were serious ups and downs, like this high from a split equivalent of 230 to $1.84. That's a massive move on a percentage basis. There was volatility all through this period. So my point is, is that charts only appear to go up in a straight line when you look at them 25 years later. When you're looking at them on a daily basis, there's actually a lot more volatility there than you would previously imagine. So the point of that is that we will see volatility in cryptocurrencies. I mean, we've been having a great run right now. They've been doing nothing but going up. But here you can see a more zoomed in chart on Microsoft, and you can see, look, Microsoft here went from the split equivalent of $1 down to 67 cents. That's a 33% drop, right? Then you had Microsoft go here from a split equivalent of 260 down to $2. Right? That's another 30% drop. Then we saw here this movement from 250 down to a low of $1.90, right? So you got to think in terms of percentages. This was an incredibly volatile period of time for Microsoft, even though the overall trend was up. So we will see peaks and valleys like this in our cryptocurrency trading too. The key is, don't freak out. Be rational. Know that we are at the beginning of what I think is going to be just one of the biggest money-making periods in my career. I think it's going to be bigger than the 1990s. I think there is so much money to be made right now in cryptocurrencies. It's crazy. I mean, it's insane how big this market's going to get. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I missed the boat, friends, you didn't miss the boat. We are just beginning, okay? We are just beginning. As I always say, be rational in your position sizing. Even a few $100s put in Microsoft would have made you an absolute fortune, okay? You don't need to go hog wild and crazy. And don't worry about volatility, because volatility will come, but it's inherent in any money-making endeavor. Volatility is part of the game. And when you are looking at potentially magnifying your money at the rate that Microsoft did in cryptocurrencies, then you got to just deal with the volatility. And that's where I think position sizing is your best friend. Okay, I definitely went over 3 minutes, so please forgive me. I look forward to catching up with you in the next video. And I want you to always remember, let the game come to you.